People miss guidance and opportunities because they are not present. So when you're not present, when you're not in the present moment, when you're focused on the past, on the future, all the consequences associated with those two things and what you're trying to achieve in your day-to-day life, and you're out of the present moment, you're anticipating something, okay? You're in your belief systems, what you should do, what you need to do, what's important. And many times that includes putting yourself last, the kids, the husband, the wife, the job, whatever has a hold of you that you do every day, that people and society relies on for you to show up and do and perform on. So that in itself you feel the burden of that, you feel the responsibility of that, and before you know it, bang, you're in the past, you're in the future, you have lost the present moment. Okay, and how does that happen? Once again, take a look at those belief systems you have. It really does control you, all right? So again, this session is about, we show you where to look, but not what to see. So they're showing you, they're pointing you, they're guiding you true north. Your guides will never guide you 15 degrees off or anything. They point you true north. They hit the bullseye every time. It's us that miss that moment when that guidance comes through. It's us that miss it. The guidance is always there, but we're not always there. There's that present moment, right?
That's the same thing like they never tell you what to do. They'll give you an event or they'll put you in a situation, but they won't tell you what to do.
They never do. And if you ever get guidance that you think is guidance and it's telling you what to do, no, it's pointing out what to look at, that they're pointing out to you, that they're showing you, any kind of sign, any kind of intuition, a dream. It comes through all kinds of ways, you guys, but it comes through all the time, all right? I mean, I'm telling you, it goes on all the time. Here's an example of that, we'll get to their questions in a minute, Ray. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say it was 2 days ago. We had somebody that is a client of ours, a follower of ours, and she's the cupcake lady in Washington, D.C. This woman is so amazing, okay? She sent me this invitation. It's a platform called
Alignable.
Alignable. And then you know what we realized? Again, this is all guidance, you guys. She showed up. She pointed this out. It made us look deeper into what we were doing. Okay, in our business plan, what we saw was, okay, when we go to about this we are used to working with you guys one-on-one. And I thought I had my LinkedIn profile pretty good, business, right? Because that's LinkedIn's business. But it was kind of a little bit vague, It was on the soft side. It wasn't really a direct hit until this came up. And then Ray and I started going back and forth going, really don't know why aren't we saying what we do? What's the one thing we do the most of? The absolute most of. And then we realized what it was. It's not coaching sessions every day. I mean, we do coaching sessions every week, but they're not necessarily every day. Okay, we sell books, but books sell themselves. I mean, people know about the books. They hear about the books. It's word of mouth that brings attention to my books. And then the big deal about what we do is what we do with you right here. And the speaking engagements I have outside of the Facebook Lives. That's what people really dig. That's what they really want, okay? So we're sitting back going, oh my God. We've just been doing it so normally and so naturally and so, consistently. Sometimes you have your head down and you're working all the time and you miss what's right in front of you, right? Well, we had missed it for a while. And now, we already have things booked up. I've had more interviews this year. It's been amazing how many interviews globally I've had from people who have reached out to me. There's the speaking. Okay, so it's been pointing, it's been looking us in the eye. But until this came up, guidance, pointing us that way, showing us where to look. Shelley came in and showed us where to look, not what to see. But when we started looking at it from a business angle, we went, oh, that's what people really want from me. All right. Duh. Okay. So it's really launching. You're going to see a whole new, a whole bunch of new stuff coming out from us that involves this speaking angle, where I'm going to be out and about on a location speaking a lot more. It's just coming to me. We had another one come today from Tucson that puts these events on down in Tucson that wants me down there. That came out. It's just that, and this has only happened in the last 2 days, you guys. What's coming through? It's like, oh my God, And so we channeled the information from the guides and said, check this out. Talk to us about it. So they talked to us about it, and man, what was that? About a 20-minute session we had with them.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, once you see what it is, so my final point here is they show you where to look, not what to see, but then once you see it, then we connect with our guides and we have this conversation with our guides, and then they tell us everything, but not until we can see it for ourselves. It's like self-realization. You know how I always say, the guides never teach you anything. They point out to you, they put something on your path for you to look at, and then it's your choice to it either connects with you, it's timely, and either you connect with it, and bam, you're all in, or you don't. You might even connect with it and pass on it, okay? By the way, I can't imagine you'd do that. But that's what this is. As soon as you connect with it, then they have all kinds of things to tell you. But you need to be in the game, okay? And your part of the game is to see it. Okay, realize it. It's the same thing as self-realization. Realize it. In fact, I'm going to just bring this up one more time. My guided journey, in every single one of the areas where you do your journaling, whether you're in part 2, chapter 1 through 18, or chapter 3, where you do your journal writing on a constant basis. The 4 qualifying questions for every single one of the entries is, first, to write it down, to acknowledge that it's there. Okay, Shelley called me, right? Brought it to my attention, write it down. And then, how does it make you feel? Ray and I collaborated on this. Oh my God, what we felt from it was amazing. We realized, that's the 3rd qualifying question, is what did you realize? Pow, we realized it. And the action, we're already there. This is how you flesh it out, you guys. This is it, all right? Get this book, use this book. Okay, Race, and Denise, so always a pleasure to have you.
All the way on the other side of the world.
I know, in Australia.
New Zealand.
New Zealand. Love New Zealand. Okay.
I've been there many times.
You have, Ray?
In my dreams.
In your dreams. You almost got hired there, didn't you?
I did have a job offer one time in Christchurch.
Right.
I could have been there and you would have missed me in Sedona.
See that. It wasn't meant to be, you guys. Okay.
Okay, a comment on today's Weekly Guided Insight from Kathy Cartagena came in. It said, I find that so much of the time we are so busy trying to solve our own problems that we cannot see the guidance that would have completely eliminated the problem if we had just been present and listening to the guidance. Just like in a conversation, when you're so busy forming the next thing you're going to say that you totally miss what the other person has just said to you. We need to be more present. We need to slow down and just enjoy the journey. And Linda Deir responded, Kathy, what you said is profoundly true. The more present you become, the more you will recognize this. You will realize it in yourself first. Once you master this, pure joy is the outcome. This is what makes all the effort you went through worth it. Keep up the focus on staying calm and being present, the best is yet to come.
That's right. What happens is, like what I was talking to you about today, what happened a couple days ago, and it was a whole cascading experience. Okay. You guys, life is supposed to be fun. And when we are paying attention and we're, tracking our progress and where we mess up, you got to put it both in there. Okay, my guided journey, and keep track of it. You guys are in for the best life ever. The best life ever. Life is not supposed to be a struggle. Okay? That's the whole point to this. What else do we have there, Ray? Joey has a question.
Joy has a question.
Okay.
All right, we ready for Joy's question? Joy's question is, what beliefs do I have that are interfering with my guidance?
That's a good question. And that, by the way, every one of you should ask yourself that question. That's a primary question based on this insight. Primary. Because that's the only thing that could mess up your fun, is that belief system that blocks you. And if it's right here, you can't see what's behind it. Okay, so let's ask her guides, Ray, what that is, okay?
Joy. Behavior is always belief driven. When you're listening to your guidance and we are pointing you in a certain direction, a belief that would get in the way would be doubt that you will find what you're looking for. And is it something you want or something you needed?
And okay. So what the first block, you doubted it. Doubt's strong. But you know what's stronger than doubt? What doubt evolves into, if you let it continue to show up and control your life, what happens is it evolves into fear. So these are things that hide in you. These are things like little volcanoes under the ocean that they're going on all the time, and they're erupting in you. This would be an analogy regarding your belief systems. So they're always percolating under the surface until one day something happens, pow, there's your earthquake. And it's your big, it's no longer a little sign or, pointing you north and giving you a dream. It's the big kahuna. It's the one that says, are you listening? I mean, it's really getting in your face, okay? You don't want it to turn into that. You want to start not doubting the fact that there are volcanoes going off, and just because you can't see them, you can feel them, okay? When you get in your own way, you can feel it. You can feel that, like, did fear come in there, or, doubt interrupt me? Or I just plain out resistance, refusal, okay, to take a look at it, to even look at it, all right?
I think in today's insight, they use an example that kind of applies to everybody, losing your keys.
That was a good one.
It is,
everyone can relate to that.
When you come back into the house, you can throw your keys in a jar right inside the door. You can throw them on the table. You can take them out to the kitchen, put them on the island. You can, they're in my pocket. You leave them on the dresser. So unless you have one spot where you're always looking for your keys, you don't know where they are. But a belief that could creep in is the next day you're going to work, you can't find your keys. But you're telling yourself, and you tell other people, I'm always losing my keys. That becomes a belief.
That becomes a program.
That's a belief.
Well, it's
you
a
believe
belief,
that you're the type
but that
of person.
reinforces the belief.
Right.
That's what I mean. It's a program that reinforces the belief. Now you're making yourself into something that It's a lie. It's not true. You don't always do that. You can't program yourself the way you've been programmed to be programmed.
Right.
You've been programmed. It's like the onion, you guys, peeling the outside off, the next layer, and the next. There's a lot of layers to this. And you guys can tackle it, okay? You really can. And let me say this again, if you write it down, you've got to write it down. Do you see? It's complicated, but it's not. In fact, at the beginning of this, when I describe what this is, in part 1, the description of how this all works together, I say, this is easy, and it's not. The same with your life. It's so obvious, and it's not. It's not as long as you're not present, and you're not staying in that moment where you're not in panic mode. You're not reacting mode. You're not, out of the moment. You can't beat the moment. The moment's where it's at, you guys. You're going to become really, really sharp as you become more and more present, and you resist the doubt.
By telling yourself you're something, you're this way or that way, that's taking yourself out of the present.
It is.
Here's the opposite belief. I know I'll find my keys before I have to go to work tomorrow.
There you go. Yes.
Now that brings you into assuring yourself a belief that you will find them. You'll be bumping around the house and, oh, there they are.
That's what I'm talking about.
But if you tell yourself I'm always losing my keys, and especially if you're late for work.
Now you're panicking.
There you go. So now your emotional state keeps you from seeing.
Right. Exactly right. That's right.
You can be so panicked.
And it's the same thing. I'm going to take something here. Okay, we talked about the keys. If you have a question, you see, there's the keys. If you, like the first option Ray laid down about, I'm going to go to sleep tonight. I know I'm going to find my keys are going to show up in the morning. I know I'll find the keys in the morning. I know I will have the answer to that. Okay, you just decide to move that way. And lo and behold, you may not have a dream, or you may have a dream you forgot, but you wake up and you go out to and there's the bloody keys. There's no resistance. There's no distrusting it. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about the fact that those keys are going to be there. Now, take another opportunity using the same analogy. You want to know what would be good for you. Like you're doing something and you're missing something in it. There's something like, I don't know, there's one piece of the puzzle that you haven't quite nailed down. It just seems to be, it's in your way. You know something's missing. You can feel it, you know it's there. Okay. You write down before you go to sleep, just like we talked about with the keys. But in this case, you write down, what is it that I'm missing? Tell me, point me, so I can, in the direction where you can show me where to look. Show me where to look to find the answer, the little missing piece of the puzzle. Show me where to look. I'm not asking you to tell me what to see. I will know it. I will know it, okay? But you got to write it down. So in the morning, you'll forget you asked that question if you didn't write it down. And then when the answer comes through, if you didn't write it down, you won't recognize the answer as it's associated with the question. You will not. Okay, you will. This is how unconscious we are, you guys. We have to train ourselves to be conscious. You've been trained to be unconscious. You know the first training you got to be unconscious? The first one. Do you know what it is, Ray? The first thing they used to make you go unconscious, that put you into a hypnotic state. What is it? It's outside of you, and it happened when we were little kids. And our mothers loved it because it got us off her back. The TV.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Tell a vision. They told you what the vision was. You never had a chance to think for yourself. This is about thinking for yourself. This is about regaining yourself, all right? This is powerful, you guys. You have to write it down, though. They show you where to look. Ask them, what am I missing? Show me where to look. That's all you need. And you will see it. You will not miss it. You'll wake up in the morning and those keys will be there. This is fun, you guys. Okay.
Okay. Denise has a question.
Yeah.
Why don't I trust my guidance? And what is it that I don't see?
That's an interesting question. Why don't I trust? So trust is the point here. It's if you knew how to trust, the other part of the question wouldn't exist. All right?
Yeah, that's basically two different questions.
They are, but one, if she knew the first one, if she understood, if she realized, not knew, if she realized the first one,
she wouldn't ask the second one.
She would need the answer to the second one. You see what I mean? Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to let your spirit guides and angels answer this for you, Denise, and here they go.
Denise, why don't you trust our guidance? From our standpoint, we see that you are afraid that maybe you won't like what you see.
Okay. Okay, Denise, I'm going to talk to you about this for a second. There's things going on. This is really important that you write down what's going on in your life right now. Very important, okay? You write it down. You write down the things that are bothering you. You write down the things that are hurting you, that are holding you up, all right? Write them all down, Denise, in part 3. That's the journal writing part. That's just a free-for-all in the journal writing part. There's the only structure to it are those 4 qualifying questions. You got to write down what it is. Then after you're done writing that down, then you sit back and you write down how it felt. Okay, that's the second qualifying question. And the third one is from writing it down, identifying it, writing it down, and writing down how you felt, what you realized. You will realize what it is. Don't be afraid of it. There's something about all this that you're afraid to find out what the truth is going to be. You're afraid of that. There's something you're going to have to do, change, or, something's going to be required from you that you're going to have to take, and that's the last qualifying question. What action are you going to take? That's the 4th one. So there's something I can tell you right now. There's something that is going to require for you to take that action, all right? But you've got to see what the truth is first. If you pretend it's something else, you block it out and you kind of fudge and make the truth something you want it to be instead of what it really is, okay? And you mislead yourself again. It's okay to do that. It'll just take you more time to get where you really want to go. That's all. Because you see, your soul will never settle for less than the truth. It came here, it's you, it's who you are, it's your essence, okay, and it's your true connection. And it really wants to see you do what you came here to do. It doesn't want to see you suffer and get stuck along the way. When you get stuck, you suffer. There's no question about it. Every one of us suffer when we get stuck. So start with this. Start writing it down. Okay, you're going to see what this is.
Just as a side note, talk about the difference between. We get a lot of questions between the difference of part 2 in this book and part 3. Okay, from what I see is part 3 is what's going on in your life right now.
Right. It's the journey forward.
Right. It's the journey forward. It's the present time and the journey forward.
Part 2 is
your past life.
It's your journey back.
Right.
You've got it. And when you do this journey in part 2, I've had this question coming up recently, and I want to clear this up too. People will ask, well, it sounds like compromise. chapter whatever, that happened, when I was younger. Yeah, it sure did. That's where it began. That's where it started. Those were the seeds that implemented that. Where you are right now, where you're compromising, that's what you need to recognize and write down, okay, so that when you go back, now you've got something to go on, so that when you go back, bam, you're going to see where that was originated. When you were 5 years old, 3 years old. I'm telling you, it happened when you were young. All this stuff happened when you were, it tested you before you were 7 years old. Every chapter in part 2. Now I move you more like into your teenage years, but really, it really, your first hit of it happened when you were, before you were 7. You just don't remember it. But it showed up again when you were in grade school, in junior high school. It showed up again just before you started your first job or whatever, okay? It showed up again like it shows up now. If it's not resolved, it's still poking you on the side. It's telling you, we need your attention, please pay attention. That's your guidance, that's your soul, that's your higher self, that's the real you that came here that doesn't want to get cheated another lifetime, all right? And put up with a mediocre life.
So when you write down what's currently happening in your life that's bothering you in part 3, that's where you go back
into the chapter of 2
and look into.
That's right.
What you need to see.
Thank you, Ray Hawley. Thank you. That's what you do. Maybe I didn't really say it the way he just did. Perfect. Okay. So whenever, right now in your life, where you identify, okay. I mean, I'm just going to go to the first part of this. This is so important. You guys are going to flesh this stuff out and figure this stuff out with your guides, all right? Whether you're using your talking board or not, you're going to have this connection to your guides, and it's going to show up. Whether you're working in, let's say right now, let's say you're dealing with issues around fear. It's really in your way. It's like Denise, there's something there that's concerning, that you're fearful of. Okay, I just have to say what it is. Go into part 3, write down what's scaring you, what it is about knowing the truth that you dread. Okay, but in here you already know the answer. You know what it is. All right, but write it down, because it will show up, and then it'll be out of here, and it will be on these pages. Okay, it won't hurt as much. You got to get it on the pages. And then, okay, so let's say there's something going on with you regarding a decision that you have to make, but it's a major decision. Something is going to be life-changing that's calling your attention to it. That's crossroads. That would be chapter 9. So you're at a crossroads. Go into part 3. This is part 2. Go into part 3, like Ray just said, and write down where you're at a crossroads right now. And when you do that, and you write it in there, and you talk about how it felt and what you realized, okay? You go back to crossroads, and I didn't say what your action you're going to take yet, did I? That's the 4th qualifying question. You go back to part 2, and you look at crossroads and see what it's telling you. And then, from writing it down in part 3, you're going to have the triggers to identify what happened back there that started all this, okay? When you write that down in part 2, Crossroads, chapter 9, let's say it's that one, you will be able to go back to where you wrote it down, where you are right now in part 3, regarding crossroads, making a decision, something that's really, got a hold of you, and you will know what to do.
Exactly. You'll know the action to take.
That's the 4th qualifying question.
When you're in it, present time, I'm having a problem with people at work, and this is how it makes me feel, this is what I'm realizing, and what am I going to do about it? I don't know what I'm going to do about it. I haven't done anything about it.
You don't.
That's why it's a problem.
Right. So you're not supposed to know. You won't know until you go back into chapter 2, when it first started, where the seeds were planted. And then you'll see it. Because you've identified it where you are right now.
Chances are you'll find out when I was 7 years old, I was in a similar situation, and I did nothing about it. This is what I should have done.
And you walked away.
then.
And you walked away feeling bad. You knew you could have done better. And you failed the test. Now, you know what? Nobody noticed it. That's why you never looked at it. Everyone else did the same thing. They did the same thing, and they could have done better, but they didn't, and they felt bad about it. But they figured no one noticed it, so I've got nothing to fix. It's like cheating. But you know who you cheated? You cheated yourself. You only cheated yourself all out of all the time that you spent letting that one thing control you. And that's what you're going to fix now. You're going to put a stop to it. Better now than never. And get your life back.
Okay. Melanie's with us. Melanie Clayton Buchanan and Francis Bing. Hi, everybody. And Melanie doesn't have a question, she just has a comment. Love this topic. Thanks. Seeing was natural when I was young.
Right.
It's always easy to see things for what they are when you're little.
You didn't have the resistance.
She said, then society made me blind. When I stopped seeing, they put blinders on my eyes. Society, yeah, you're right. They do.
They told you what to see.
Right. What you could look at.
Right.
And hear. I could see and hear again when she got the blinders off as she got older.
That's so right.
Okay. Here's a little twist in this whole thing. Well, they can show us where to look, but not what to see. Getting back to something that everybody can relate to is the keys. All right, you're looking for your keys. You're frantic. You're looking all over the place where you think you might have put your keys, and you look in this spot, and they're not there. So you go look someplace else. You come back to that spot, and there they are, right in front, right on top.
Okay, let's let the guy.
Why?
I'm not going to answer that.
My question is.
Yes.
Why didn't you see it the first time?
That's what. Okay, perfect. That's a great question. I love this. Okay, and the guides. Only the guides can answer this one. Was it sleight of hand or what happened there? All right, here they go.
It's partly beliefs combined with a frantic emotional state when you're not present. You're frantic, and it prevents you from seeing something that's right in front of you. Another person walks into the room and points at your keys and says, there they are. So why didn't you see them the first time?
Well, that we know why now, right?
You didn't believe they were there, so you couldn't see them. You were in an emotional state that didn't allow you to be present.
Oh, man. Okay, so when we...
It happens all the time.
Okay, but let's talk about this again. Now that it's the belief system that prevented you from seeing it.
Right.
Okay, it's absolutely in the belief system. You look there, and there's no way that you can possibly see those keys when you believe that they're not there.
Right.
Tell me how strong the mind is. Tell me how powerful this mind is of ours. Now, you take these downsides to how we can get programmed, and we get frantic, and we can't stay present. We can't be present to be full, to be whole, to be who we are, okay? We can't do that when we're not present, okay? So if we can heal this stuff and cut out, get back into that calmness, there's a calmness in being present. When you can gather yourself back up and go, okay, no way am I going to let anything do that to me. I'm telling you right now, the only way you're going to beat this thing is write it down in part 3. Start in part 3, and then go back and see what chapter in part 2 relates to that issue. Because there's there's a root cause to why you experienced that, okay, and why it's so persistent. And you can beat this thing, you guys. That I wouldn't have written this book for you if I didn't believe that. It's how I learned it. It's how I lived it. That's why I wrote this.
So Denise says, thank you, I'm journaling and it's really helping. Yes, that sounds exactly right. Crossroads. Okay. She'll be journaling in that section and ask for guidance on this. Yes, I would like my life back.
Okay.
That's kind of a
and again, I just have to say this one thing, Ray, okay? This, right, like Ray said, from where you are right now, write down the dilemma you're having in part 3 first, because you got to write down where you are now, and then go back in part 2, and you're gonna have a whole bunch of clues that bring that to light. All right.
And she even used the right words. When you journal in part 2, you are going back in your life. She says, I want my life back. The way you get it back is you go back and you look at where this problem started.
I want my life back. That's right. By the way, I'm going to point something out. This is a really cute little, Ray and I love the journals because it helps you guys. It gets you there. It solves the problems. Your self-realize. We can't tell you what to do, what the answer is. Your guides will never, they don't teach you anything. They point you in the direction that you can feel it, you know it. They point you in a direction, but it's your free will to go that way or not, all right? So part 2 is taking the journey back. Do you see the little feet at the bottom of this book? They're going back. They're not going forward. See, right there. Yeah. They're tracing your steps back. In fact, when I turn the book over, they continue to go back into the depth of your life. Okay? They go back. In part 3 is where once you are, it's where you are right now. It's going forward, okay, in your life. See what the feet are doing?
Mm-hmm. They're going the other way.
They're going forward.
It's almost like a secret message hidden on the cover.
It absolutely is. And these books are so good. And it's the 4 qualifying questions that you're asked in both books that's critical to you healing your life and then remaining conscious. So this never happens again, where you have to go back to your past and figure out what the heck happened back there. Where did you get off track? You'll never get off track again when you're moving forward and you keep the journal writing going, all right, about where you are. And the little things that challenge you up in your life doesn't mean once you have taken the journey back in part 2, doesn't mean that you have to go back and take the journey again. No, it just means that you have to document where you're getting snagged up just a little bit. Okay, this is not a big problem now that you took the journey. Okay, you know where this all started. And if you are writing down where you are right now and you keep you're bumping into it, go back into what you wrote into that one chapter that applies to where you are right now. There's 18 of these that identify certain hang-ups in our lives at certain times. And reread what you wrote and go, oh, I see it. That's a powerful one. That really hit me hard when I was 3 years old. That really hit me hard when I was 8. That really knocked me off my pins. It really threw me off. That, I see it on the page. I don't have it here. I see it on the page, and I see where it continues to get my attention. Let's say that. I'm not going to say control your life. Right now, it's controlling your life. But once you do the work, and then you keep the journey going, it's not controlling your life. You're catching it. You're controlling your life. All right? This is a brilliant process. It's the guided journal writing system. Like I've said before, I'm just going to point this out one more time. And the guided journal writing system is guided, my guided journey, and my journal writing. It's the 3 books. You learn how I did it. This is how you do it. And this is how you continue to keep it going, so you don't lose track of where you are and where you're going ever again. All right, what do we have, Ray?
Let's see. No more questions.
Okay, you guys, I loved this, okay? The guides love this. This is so much fun, and it's fascinating. So it's so easy to turn our lives around. It's amazing. It's sitting right there in front of us, just like all the time. We just have to be willing to do the work. Get out there, roll your sleeves up, and go, let's do this. We're not going to get hung up anymore. We're not sitting in this anymore. We're moving forward on this. We're going to take the guides up on the free will to move that way when they point it out, when they show us where to look.
And that's what makes a difference. The guy said the wants or the needs. What you want doesn't require any work. You just want it.
You sit back like this and go,
Oh, yeah. Law of attraction.
When's it going to show up? You know? Right.
Law of attraction.
Yeah, true.
Keep looking. Every morning you wake up, you look out the driveway.
Did I get lucky today?
That Ferrari's not sitting there. But if it's a need, that requires some work. That's how you can tell the difference.
Yeah, something you need. Like, you need food for your family. You need to go out and find a way to make a living so that you can meet the need, okay? But you're not supposed to throw yourself into the pit of alligators to do it. You're not supposed to not be who you are and honor yourself. No. You're supposed to, in fact, go out and find something that's a real good fit for you. All right. And stay true to yourself as you make a living and support that need, okay? Then if you do really, really well, then you can have some things you want. But it's not like putting the cart in front of the horse. It's not the want before the need. You gotta pay the bills first each month before you can get something that maybe you want, you know? So we just have to slow down a little bit. I like what Kathy said in her comment on this post today. She said, you know, we're moving too fast. And we can't be present when we're doing that. That is so true. That is the truth. So you just have to breathe. Don't panic. Learn to sit back and go,